What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host, Chad Medved. Welcome to all the newcomers. Welcome back to all the returning guests. I appreciate it as always. Let me just take a second to say, please scroll up on your app and hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling generous, there's 5 stars right there. Hit the 5th star, and that'll give me a good feedback review. If you would also like to take, 10 seconds maybe, give me a comment on there or a review, if you will. That stuff helps me out very, very much. I mean, that's how the podcast grows. That's how it climbs up the charts. So if you got a spare second, do that for me. If you don't got nothing nice to say, just don't say it. Don't be giving me 1 star. I'm in here. I'm trying to get all this shit done. I'm working hard for this. But we just got, I can't even begin to tell you how many great people we have coming up in the next month, 2 months. I'm just really, really excited for the podcast. The numbers keep growing. It's fun to watch that. I'm just excited to see people, liking what I do. And which brings me to my next point. I want to thank Turner's Dairy Farms and the creators of Turner's Premium Tea, the thug jugs you see with the yellow caps everywhere you look. I just want to thank them for sponsoring the podcast and standing behind me and just riding with me through this journey. I'm just a dude trying to make it happen, and now I'm just a dude that's fueled by Turner's, and I couldn't be more proud about that. Turner's Tea is the blood that this city runs off of. I mean, come on. And in the next month, they got a whole bunch of awesome stuff that's coming out. So today on social media, they just dropped the bomb that they are going to be releasing a pre-bottled, semi-sweet coffee drink. It's going to be called Cold Brew Haha. So ColdBrewHaha, and that is a pre-bottled coffee drink. And I actually got to go by the farm and have a little sampling myself whenever I was shooting my mixtape cover for Thug Jug's mixtape, which will be dropping soon enough. Anyway, but they are sponsors of the podcast, and it's awesome for them to be whenever you just like the products that they put out. This coffee's great. Next month they're going to be doing their single serving cottage cheese cups. So like a yogurt, obviously, but they're making cottage cheese with fruit in the bottom. You already know it's going to be banging. I mean, cottage cheese, a little bit of fruit topping on there. What more could you want? But they're going to be single serving. They got 4 different flavors. There's peach, cinnamon, pineapple, and classic. I mean, come on now. That's great. But I'm excited to see all the other new stuff that they got going on. They might have something going on with Grist House again next month. They might also have a new milk coming again next month. So, just keep your eyes peeled. Go follow them at Turner's PGH on Instagram. The Instagram, they got some good content. They got cooking videos. They got, their Instagram is popping. I implore you to go over there and follow them. Again, it's at Turner's PGH, and just go there, vote for your favorite milk, check out the good stuff that they keep posting. Another person that I would like to address is Matt Christie over at Streets on Carson. They have a brand new food truck that's out. It's called Streets on the Fly. I also implore you to go over and follow at Streets on the Fly and also at Streets on Carson. They are two great entities of a great person and a family that's behind him. Streets on Carson, obviously a sponsor of the podcast. They also make fantastic food. They have a new venture. It's called Streets on the Fly, and it's a dope-ass food truck that's been pulling up all over the city. They've been slinging steaks and whipping wings, and I'm excited to see their growth as well. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of good stuff coming around, a lot of good stuff happening the next month. Besides for all this virus shit, let's take a second to address it because it's all that's being talked about. The coronavirus is ransacking everyone's lives. And, at first I was like, this shit ain't nothing, the flu is more deadly, whatever. But it's like, if you're not a little bit concerned about this, I don't know. DM me and let me know why you're not concerned about it, because I feel like it's a little bit sketchy. I really don't know, but I feel like it's a little bit sketchy. Whenever you're, reading about all this shit that's going on in the world, and you see every article that's going on the, on the internet about the coronavirus and what's going on, and like all the shit that you should do to try to prepare, and all the shit that you should do to, try to, prevent the spreading of it. My wife got to stay home from work. I got other people that I know that are not allowed back in their building at work. And who knows, maybe it's hysteria. Maybe it's just, precautions, but it's definitely getting weird. It'll be interesting to see how life unfolds over the next few weeks. But the reason that everyone is here, this week I have a very special guest. This week I'm talking to Tall Cathy from 96.1 KissFM. I talked to Mikey and Big Bob, I don't know, probably like 6 months ago or something like that. And I talked to Abby on the X a little bit before that. And I get to add another character from the Mount Rushmore of Pittsburgh radio to the wall of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Tall Cathy has been doing this for a while now. She's a veteran in the game. She's well-versed in the behind the scenes of radio, and she is obviously well-versed in the running of a afternoon radio show, because currently you could find her making us all laugh in traffic while we're driving home from work during the afternoons. But she's an awesome person. We sat down, we started talking about I'm Not Okay With This, which is that new Netflix show, and how Turner's Tea is in there. We started talking about how she kind of, navigated her trajectory of life into a radio show host. She's always wanted to do this, which was cool. And it was kind of cool to hear how, she went about it growing up through school. And, it was a great conversation. It always is. It's always a great conversation. I just like learning from people, especially people that do things that are like similar to what I do. Like I've always kind of been into radio. I had a radio show whenever I was at CCAC called the Rush Hour Renegades. Shout out to Full House, Uncle Jesse and Uncle Joey. But I stole your name. But Tall Cathy was great. We talk about all kinds of stuff in this episode, from everything from, what it's like to build the structure of a show, to almost to even how a radio show has to adapt during tragedies that might happen in the world. For instance, Kobe Bryant and his daughter, and then the rest of the people that were on that helicopter that just happened, something like that is not what people expect. And, whenever someone, that pivotal in life passes away, and that's like, it causes a worldwide, stir on media, your business model kind of has to, change over to that to try to accommodate for those, unpredictable situations. And it was just super interesting to talk to her about all this stuff. So, without further ado, episode 109 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Tall Cathy from 96.1.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
Milk sponsor of Brownsville or something.
Turner's Tea?
Milk and tea. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that show out?
Yeah.
It is out?
Yeah. It came out the 26th, which was that yesterday? 26th?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So I saw the first 3 episodes on a preview at the Southside Works last week. And
What's it about?
so it's this girl who's in high school. So it's the girl from It
Yeah.
with the red hair.
Yeah.
And then the kid with the curly hair. He's in it too.
From It?
Yeah. He's like tall, like skinny,
yeah,
like
yeah,
guy,
yeah,
the one
yeah.
that the guy in the painting comes after
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
So it's those two, and she's like a little off, like a misfit, whatever. But then she just discovers that she's got these weird like kinetic powers that happen every time that she gets angry, and her dad had committed suicide. So then like she starts digging through his stuff, and it's about her like trials and tribulations through high school while trying to navigate her way through her weird new superpower.
Yeah,
that she doesn't want to tell anybody about. But it's also like very dark, but also kind of funny, and
yeah, it has like that comic relief.
Yeah.
Did you see the end of the fucking world?
yeah. Well, it's the same director.
Okay, I was gonna
It's the
say
same guy. Yeah, so it's kind of got like the same dark feel to it.
yeah, because like that was dark, but it was also like funny. It had like some
Yeah.
comic relief, but then like it would get super serious, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch a preview for that yet. I saw that they had Turner's posted that screen grab of the fridge
Mm-hmm.
with all the products in there, but like I didn't know about that. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I assume that they filmed it here.
Yeah, it was Pittsburgh and Brownsville. It's based in Brownsville though.
Oh, it is based there.
Yeah, so it's based off of a book which I have not read, but you know sometimes when they come and film stuff here, they're like, it's Detroit, but they film in Pittsburgh. But
Yeah.
no, like they actually live in Brownsville.
Oh, that's cool.
So
then.
yeah, there's like a scene where they go to a house party and there's a kid wearing a Pirates hat, a kid wearing a Pitt shirt, a kid wearing a Penguin shirt.
I like that.
Like she's wearing like an old school throwback like Steelers like gold ringer tee.
Oh, that's
so,
cool.
Yeah, it's actually like based here, and
Yeah,
it
rather
feels
than like
local.
Mindhunter that says that it's based somewhere else, but it's actually filmed in like McKeesport.
Yeah.
And like right around there.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder why it's interesting how many places or how many like I don't know, shows, movies are all filmed in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's like the cost of it. You know, I feel like I've looked up I've looked up reasons why Pittsburgh is like a destination to film, and I think it's just way cheaper.
Yeah,
And
there's a
it-
tax cut.
Yeah, and you're able to like we have a lot of like different like landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean like it's weird to think that like Batman was filmed up in here and like, you know, crazy things like that. You're like, you know, that's wild to think about when you're watching like Bane rip through everything.
Right, like Heinz Field going like bah, 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 like all blowing up with Heinz Ward like running behind it.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
like it's weird that that's even like a thing, but I mean Pittsburgh is like I don't know. Pittsburgh is it's an interesting place. Okay, so before we get too deep into it, I do an
Yeah.
opening segment. It's called "What's in the Cup." What's in your cup?
Do you want me to? I'm not sponsored by this, and I don't know. Is it okay to say sponsorable things?
You're allowed to say this, yeah.
It's bubbly. It's sparkling water.
This is how I open all the podcasts. It just seems to be like an easier way. I've never had a peach one, but
It's pretty darn good.
yeah, they're good. I love seltzer. I don't drink a lot of pop really, and I've been like into the whole seltzer craze. Whenever it started getting like hip, like
Yeah.
the hipsterish type, they have all them flavors and like
I love it too. Because
It
same
is, it's
thing.
great.
Like I love pop, but I'll get like sucked down a vortex of drinking like gallons of cherry Coke, and then
Oh,
I
yeah.
wonder why I put on 10 pounds.
yeah, it's terrible because like you have like a large I drove home. I was traveling for work in North Carolina, and I drove home yesterday, and I stopped at McDonald's, and I got a large Coke, and it was like the first time that I've had like a fountain Coke from McDonald's in forever, and I drank it, and I was just like, God, I feel like such a piece of shit.
But how good is a fountain though? It's
Yeah.
fountain tastes better, and it tastes different than it does in a can or in a bottle.
All day.
Yeah.
It's weird. My go-to usually is a fountain Pepsi from Taco Bell because that's like, I mean, that's so good. But I don't know. McDonald's is it's a great place. You know, it is. It's terrible for you, but it's a great place.
That was like one of my last suppers before Lent kicked in because I cut out pop and fried food.
Oh, that's where you're giving up.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
you usually make it all the way.
I call it my Lent diet.
Yeah.
I do pretty good. I mean, the tough thing to stay away from is chips because chips are technically fried.
Oh,
So you cut
jeez.
that out. I will also go another step. The last 2 years, I gave up bread as well.
Oh.
And that's the tough one.
Yeah, I
Because-
feel like that it would be difficult for me to get all the way through it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I usually don't give things up, but I don't know. Maybe I should this year. Maybe I should just give up something.
I mean, I'm not like, I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school.
Same.
You know, but I feel like now I'm a what they call a wet Catholic.
Yeah.
Where you go to church for weddings, Easter, and Christmas, and that's it. But I still try to do like the Lent, give something up thing.
Yeah, it's a good reason to get involved with it. I mean, that's understandable.
Kind of like bad habits and like those kind of things. So
are you a fish fry person?
I do enjoy the fish fry, but I give up fried food.
Oh,
so I can't eat the fried food. So
that's terrible.
I go to the fish fry, and being like 50% Polish, I go all in on the halushki and the pierogies.
Yeah, that's the best.
That's my go-to there.
Now, what if you have? I mean, you can get as technical as like frying up the onions. Like, would you consider that fried?
No, because it's not deep fried.
Okay,
it's like deep fried is like a thing. So like no French fries, no onion rings, no fish, like none of that stuff at all. All the deep fried
the potato
stuff.
chips, I don't think I'd be able to get through.
That's a really tough one.
That's a tough one. Those are tough ones. But so I appreciate you doing this. I obviously know who you are. I mean, how long have you been working here?
Well, thank you. I mean, if you want to count my internship, like 16 or 17 years, something like that.
That long?
Since 2003, yeah.
And I mean, like, obviously got to be a good place to work.
I love it here.
I mean, how couldn't you, right? Seems like a fun place.
I work, the thing, I mean, it's a great job.
Yeah.
And as I tell people, it's a cool job. It's just a unique job. But it's a job just like everybody else has a job. You have your good days and you have your bad days, but the people are really what make the difference.
Yeah.
And if you walk around the hallways here, you're going to see a lot of the same people who've been here for as long as I've been here or longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is this always something you wanted to do? Was broadcasting?
It was.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So like when you're younger, you had like an idea that you wanted to be a broadcaster?
So growing up, I loved radio. I was that kid who put the, tape things off the radio.
Oh yeah.
And you like try to like hit it and stop it like perfectly. And then you get like all like PO'd whenever the person talked over the end of the song. And now I'm that person. But my mom was like an avid 3WS listener growing up. So it was always on in our house, like in the kitchen. And she used to win prizes off the radio all the time. So we were just always big radio listeners. And so I told my mom, I was like, hey, I think I want to be on the radio. Like, high school going to college. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I got like a pamphlet for like a radio school at, like a job fair. And I come home and I told her, and she's like, I don't know about this. And she ended up going up to Ross Park Mall because I'm from the North Hills. And there was a radio station there with like an intern with a prize wheel. And she, as mothers do, walked up to this person and said, how much do you get paid? And then she came home and she's like, you're not doing that. Figure something else out. But still, like in high school, I went to North Hills and they introduced a radio program my senior year, like a class that taught you how to make commercials and like different stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And I took that, and it was like me and a bunch of freshmen, because like, freshman is like an easy slack off class. But I was like the dork that wanted to really do
That's really cool, though. I mean, like, that's cool that you had an interest from the beginning.
Yeah, it's crazy that it all worked out the way that it did.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy growing up. Like I'm about to be 30, and it's just like, I don't know, life is bizarre. I just feel like I'm along for a ride, just like holding on to like a train and just hoping I don't like fall off. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to like have positive days. It's like, I feel like if I plan things too much now, or if I like, get to like, if I try to like regiment things, I just go with it now. I turn myself into a glass half full guy, and I just hope for the best. Could I ask how old you are?
Yes. Oh, I mean, I'll be 38. I try not to.
That's all right.
I'm always afraid to say that because I'm like, God, people are gonna be like, she's so old. But I've been in this for a minute.
The reason I ask that is because of it's just an easier way for me to like place like what's relevant to you.
Yeah.
Like my brother, he's 37, so it's like now I kind of have like an idea of like what you grew up around, what's around, but I can cut it out if you want me to.
No, it's okay. It's cool. I'm it's something we all have to deal with eventually.
I get it. Are you someone that like hates age?
No, I don't think I hate it. I think I've become more freaked out by it a little bit in the last year because I feel like I'm seeing a little more gray hairs in my head.
Yeah.
Like I have some friends that are like full blown gray now, which is kind of like wild. But I've also noticed in the past year, like my makeup is settling into my lines and I'm like, where is this all coming from? So I'm not like freaked out by it. It's just like,
it's happening.
It's happening now. And I'm starting to notice it a little bit.
I want to be all gray. I just want it all to happen.
Just let it all happen.
Just let it happen.
Like Ted Danson.
Yeah, that's all I want. Yeah. I'm thinking of like a plump George Clooney.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm going for.
Hell
but
yeah.
So I mean, younger, like, what's your life like growing up as a kid? Like, what are you into?
I had a great childhood. My parents were wonderful. I have an older brother. We played a lot outside.
Yeah, back whenever that was a thing.
Yeah, we played butt ball a lot.
What's butt ball?
You ever play butt ball?
Maybe it's something. Maybe I had a different name for it. What is it?
Yeah. Okay. So you get a couple people, and then you take a tennis ball and you throw it against the wall. And when it bounces back, you can only catch it with one hand.
Oh yeah.
And if you bobble it, then you have to like drop it and run, and then someone can peg you with the ball.
Yeah, I think we called that handball, but I mean that's not like the real name of handball, but that's just something we did, and we would just get crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was those were good times. I feel like I don't ever see kids doing anything like that anymore.
Kids have screens now.
Yeah, I was looking at me and my wife were looking at houses the other day, and like we came out of this open house, and there was like 3 kids like running around in the front yard. And another couple were like riding bikes and scooters. There was not one cell phone. And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. Like, I feel like I haven't seen that in years. Yeah. And that makes me feel like the old guy on the lawn that's like, like, you damn kids. Like, everyone's just on their phones now. And I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah, I know we all are. That's something that I need to make a more conscious effort of, like, if we're sitting around at night, like, taking my phone and putting it in another room, because my boyfriend and I will be sitting on the couch and we'll both be on our phones
100%.
While we're watching something. So no one's like actually focused into what's going on. I need to do better about that.
It's a drag when you think about it, because like, I feel like what's happened for me and my wife is like, you get off work and you get into a TV show on Netflix. I mean, like, it's easy, and you're watching it together, and we're both just sitting there, and we're both just looking on a phone, like you said. So we just like made a rule that we're just going to eat dinner together, and no phones, just stare at each other, talk, and then we'll migrate to the couch and like catch up on Love Is Blind. Are you a fan of Love Is Blind?
I have not started that one yet. I know everyone's talking about it.
It's embarrassing.
I'm behind on that one.
It's embarrassing. Like, you could pass it up, but I mean, it's like a guilty pleasure. Like, my wife had it on, and I'm like, what's going on here? What are all these people in these rooms? It looked like OA. You ever watch the OA?
Yeah.
It's like, they're in like their own cages. I was like, what is going on? She's like, you don't see anyone, and you can just talk back and forth. I'm like, I ain't watching this garbage. And then like, I see what's going on, and I'm just like, and then we start getting into it a little bit more, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's going on right now? Like, she's watching like season 13 of The Bachelor. It just popped up on Netflix. It's like on probably season 30, but it's like, trash TV. It just gets in your brain.
But that's the thing, though. You go through so much crap throughout the day.
Yeah.
And like, no matter where you look, there's like, you go and you scroll through Twitter and it's just like straight politics and stuff. Like, sometimes you just need to melt your brain down.
Yeah,
and you need those kind of things to just kind of escape.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that makes sense. So I'm curious. You said that they started like a radio class at your school.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't have that at all, but that sounds pretty cool. Was that not something that happened until you were a senior?
Yeah, it didn't come into North Hills until my senior year. I have no idea if that class is still a thing or not, but we learned about like just like, the background of radio, and then they taught us how to make commercials, because we were like all in there like putting things on cassette tapes and stuff. And
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I don't remember really much about the class after that, and I just thought it would be like a cool thing to do because it was something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like when I went to college, I studied business marketing.
Okay.
So like I never did a radio show in college. I took the history of rock and roll and got like 105% in that class, because I just always had like a passion for music and kind of always wanted to be where music was.
That's my next question. Like, you were always into music growing up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, I listened to the radio a ton. My friends and I did in high school was go to concerts.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess that's a thing. Like, what was some of your favorites?
Oh gosh, I mean, like growing up, my bands in high school were Eve 6 and Fuel.
Oh, wow, Fuel.
Yeah.
Jeez, Eve 6 and Fuel were both great. Here's to the Night. That's a karaoke song.
Yeah.
And Beautiful Oblivion. Is that what it's called? Or Inside Out?
Inside Out, yeah. Inside Out, yeah.
That's such good stuff.
They're great. I mean, they're still touring now, and they still they still sound fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild that all these, like, I swear I just saw something on the radio. It's like Sugar Ray, or not Sugar Ray, but Vanilla Ice is coming.
Oh, yeah. There's like it's him and like a whole bunch of other like 90s throwbacks.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that might not be the best, but it might not be the worst. Like, I'm going to see that. It would
be pretty fun. I mean, now that you're at an age where you can consume alcohol and enjoy those kind of things, it kind of changes the dynamic of going to those shows.
Yeah, I was thinking, probably like 5 years ago, we went to Atlanta to the Midtown Music Festival, and they had like everyone, like there was like Run DMC, Lana Del Rey, Eminem, excuse me, and we got to see Third Eye Blind. And Third Eye Blind was like, it was probably like 5:30 in the afternoon. It was like the sun was just going down. It was so nice out, and like there had to be maybe 10,000 people standing there, and they started singing Semi-Charmed Kind of Life, and like I just like my eyes just started like watering because like how like it felt so crazy. There was like all these people. I mean, realistically, how many Third Eye Blind songs can you name? Like 4 or 5 hits?
How's it going to be? Jumper?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's like their main hits. And you're just like, that was like probably 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Literally. And these people of all different ages are all singing this song in unison that's about crystal meth. And you're just like, wow, this is crazy. But that was a cool experience. Like seeing all them 90s bands now, I feel like would be like way funner because like those are songs that are just ingrained in your head.
Yeah, exactly. So another one of my favorites growing up was Jimmy Eat World, and I have met people in my adult years that are Jimmy Eat World fans. So we will go to those shows together, and it's the same thing. Like everyone around is just singing because everyone knows the words.
Yeah.
Like Dashboard Confessionals next week.
I know.
Going to that one, and same thing. Like my friend and I went to see him at Stage AE.
Killed it probably.
Like 2 years ago, yeah. And she was like, I don't know. She's like, let's just go and check out a couple songs. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then we were both like, breathe in for luck. Just like every single, we both like, you know, after you hear those songs after so long, you remember every single word of every single song. And it's the best time ever when you're in that experience surrounded by like another 1,000 people that are having that same moment. It's just, it's awesome.
And it's like one other good thing about like music is like you hear a song and it like, you know, it takes me back to certain like times in life.
Yeah.
You know, like if I listen to like any sort of like I don't know, it's a random, but like George Strait or like, you know, Darius Rucker, All Right. Like I swear all those songs just remind me of being at my friend's house and having like a big bonfire.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a wild tool. I feel like radio has always been like interesting to me because like you get to have that outlet of like music and everything like that, but you still get to be like I mean, I feel like character is a bad word, but like you still get to be a personality. You know, you still get to put your own personality into like what you're doing as far as like your radio show and everything. But so like in high school, if you're like going through this class and you're like, you know, kind of just going through there, like, do you have an idea that you wanted to be a radio host after college?
So after my mom was like, you know, maybe figure something else out, I kind of just like pushed it to the side, but I knew that I wanted to do something with music and marketing.
Yeah.
And I was like a huge X listener growing up. So I emailed Whipping Boy.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, do you know of anything around Pittsburgh? I need an internship, you know, music marketing. And he's like, oh, actually, we take people here. And he gave me the contact. And, you know, I ended up here doing a promotions internship. And that ended up, you know, spinning into being on air eventually once we got this new programming director. And after a couple shots at the Christmas party of Jägermeister, and I'm like, I just want to be on the radio. And then, you know, fast forward like 2 months and I started doing overnights and stuff.
What does that internship consist of? Like, what are you doing?
So it was the internship back in the day. It's changed and evolved, and we don't really have like interns per se now. We have like promotions assistants. So when I did my internship, there were like 30 of us. So they broke it up into 2 days. You were either Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday, and you worked every other Friday.
Yeah.
So there were some days where you would be like out at Star Lake, you know, bannering for Santana that night, and then like hanging out and like passing out TV bumper stickers, or maybe getting a pair of tickets to upgrade people. But then there were days that we sat in a conference room and had to like hand rip old paper logs. And, you know, because it's stuff that, you know, back then you had to print everything.
Yeah.
So we would just be like hand ripping stuff. There were days we played Uno. You know, it kind of just all varies. And then there's a day where Donnie Irish shows up. You know, you never really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like this is an unpredictable environment to work in.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's a positive. You know, I feel like it's not boring.
It's I don't want to, no, I wouldn't say it's boring. Like, you have your days where there's just like mundane, like office stuff that's going on, you know, but, and then you have your days where you're going out and you're standing at a car dealership, or, you know, you're going to a concert. It kind of all changes, which is good because you never really get bored in this job.
That's good. So, I mean, like, after your promotions and like you finally get that like I don't know, that chance to go on air. You said it was overnight?
Yeah, I was on overnights for a little while. Well, actually, so after my internship was done, I was a sales assistant here in the sports marketing division. So Steelers, Pitt Pirates, Penguins radio networks.
What does that mean? You're working with them to do like promotions?
Oh, so I work for the sales department. So basically the sales guys that would go out and sell radio advertising, I was the person behind the scenes. I was helping to put their pitches together and like, just helping them in whatever they needed to go out and make their sales. And then I worked like a lot of like pre-Steeler events and stuff. We used to have a tailgate on the lawn of the Carnegie Science Center before Steeler games. So it was just working a bunch of that stuff. So I started doing overnight shifts, and that eventually turned into weekend shifts and then middays. So I was doing middays on KISS and also still working my sales assistant job. So I was just like booking it up the steps from the 3rd floor to the 5th floor where sales was.
Yeah.
And just like doing all that stuff.
Like, what are your hours whenever you're like working? Like, if you're doing midday on the radio, it's like, what are your hours of you having to be here?
So back then I was starting my workday at 8:30 and leaving around like 6:30 or so.
Oh, okay.
5:30 or 6:30 because a midday shift, I'd be on the air from like 10 to 1 back then, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So it was like right smack in the middle of the workday, like my lunch hour would be like a part of that too. So that was that then, but then you'd be doing like nighttime things like bar remotes and appearances and that kind of stuff. So I like go home, let my dog out, eat something, and then be on the car and on my way out to the next thing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, whenever you're doing this and like you're starting to like learn the craft of all this, and you're on like overnights, like do you guys have to go through like like a training almost? Like, how are you learning how to use all the equipment and like how to figure everything out?
It was the people here that they teach you and they kind of like mentor you and help you along the way on how to do everything. So initially, I think really before I started on air stuff, I was helping to run the board for broadcasts.
Yeah.
So like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., Bonix, who used to work with us, would be out somewhere, and I'd be the person back here like hitting the buttons and like making us go on the air and onto the commercials and turning the mic up and on and like making everything run from back at the home base. So you kind of learn how to do that first, and that's kind of like your first stepping stone before they actually like let you drive the car, and let you do it on your own.
That would make more sense. Yeah. So like if people were on location, there's someone back here kind of like running the boards still?
Live broadcast, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I never understood how that kind of like unfolded. Like I would obviously see people at like concerts and everything like that, but I didn't know if it was like, you're controlling everything right there, or if it goes back and then it's being controlled.
Yeah. So we have a program called Next Gen that we can Next Gen is basically what runs the radio station. So you can open up your laptop and see what's going on at the radio station remotely from where you're at. But then there's somebody back at the radio station that's hitting all the buttons and putting music behind your talking and all that other stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be real interesting. Now, your overnights, like overnight is like what hours?
Oh, geez, like midnight to 6 a.m. or something like that.
And is there people now here that do that from like midnight till 6?
Not really.
Is it more like automated now, kind of?
It's a little more automated now, yeah. But like back in the day, it would be like you'd see Jack Malloy, who used to work for DVE, like running up and down the hallway in his socks. There are like very few people around here in the late hours.
Yeah. So is there listeners at night?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's just like weird for me because I'm obviously not someone who works night shifts. Yeah. But I guess there are people that work night shifts.
You think of people who work like overnight at hospitals and they're driving back and they're hearing you, or they're working at a gas station, or
that's a good point too.
Coming back from partying with their friends late at night,
Yeah, exactly. So if you're on there, and have you always been called Tall Cathy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you have to like, I don't know, you hear everyone on the radio that's like, oh, I'm this name. Like, it's almost like a persona. Mm-hmm. It's like, how do you develop that in the beginning?
I was just given the name and I couldn't shake it.
Okay.
So there was a guy who used to do afternoons here on KISS. His name was Scotty.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Scotty. He used to have these little jingles. Scotty talks to girls on the radio on KISS.
I feel like I know what that is.
You might remember that. Yeah. So he used to do afternoons here, and he had a segment called Female Email Monday. So when I was doing promotions and this was before I started doing middays and such on the station.
Yeah.
He used to call me down to read a segment on his show called Female Email Monday, where I'd pick up a piece of paper and go, "Dear Scotty, I'm mad at my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. What should I do?" And then he would solve people's problems. So because of that, when Scotty and I would go out, I'd be this promotions person, he'd be the talent, and people started knowing me because he started calling me Tall Cathy. So
It's stuck.
Yeah. So Scotty is the originator. I give him credit to that. And he's really the one that put me on the air first.
Well, he's a good guy then, right?
Yeah. He's the one that really put me on the air. And then after he left, and then I started kind of doing like overnights on all those other things. Like everybody knew me by Tall Cathy. So I'm like, well, I guess that's what we're rolling with.
Yeah, got to stay with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's fitting. I am 6 feet tall. So I guess that makes sense.
You're 6 foot?
6 foot. Yeah.
Were you a basketball player at all?
No.
Okay.
I played in 6th grade, hurt my ankle, couldn't finish out the season. And then when I went to North Hills, I was like, all right, I'll try doing this. And I didn't have my physical on the day of signups, the last day.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't let me sign up. So I was a cheerleader and then my high school mascot.
You were a high school mascot?
I was.
Wow. What were you?
Indian.
Indian?
North Hills Indians, yeah.
Can't be that now. Are they still the Indians?
It's still the Indians, yeah. I don't know what they're doing for their mascot.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
I have no idea.
We were the Warriors, so like, it was a white kid dressed up as a warrior running around, and I mean, like back then, you're like, that's normal, but now it's
it's a different story now. The one good thing I will say about that is that it built character.
That's good. I mean, like I feel like that would be I feel like that would be awesome. If I didn't play football, I would be all for doing that. I'm usually, someone that's loud and, the center of things. I've always like enjoyed that, but mascot, like how do you even get into that?
I don't know. It was kind of like a prestigious thing to be the mascot at my high school. I just always wanted to do it. And whenever I decided to quit cheerleading, I remember like I had to like write an essay and like do an interview for it.
For the mascot?
Yeah, it was stupid.
Wow.
And then, but because I was a cheerleader, I knew like the fight song dance and I knew all the cheers and stuff. I could like easily like hop in the line with the girls and like do the stuff and then run up and down the track at the football games. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I heard a story one time, I think it was Virginia Tech, that whoever is the mascot there, like no one knows who they are except for obviously the people probably on the cheerleading squad or whatever. But I feel like that I heard that they said whenever you graduate and you retire from being the mascot, the only way people find out is like you wear like the feet for the mascot suit to your graduation.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of like revealed.
Huh.
I don't know. I feel like I've had to heard that because I feel like it would be random for me to just like make up. Or I might have subconsciously heard it.
That'd be interesting.
Might be a Mandela effect. But so, I mean, like you're getting into this stuff and you're doing this overnight. Like, was it difficult at first for you?
Yeah, it's difficult, but like the more like reps you get and the more you do it, like it gets easier.
Yeah, it's like flexing a muscle, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I guess it would be a little bit similar to this. I obviously don't have to mess with boards and like, cut stuff in and out and do everything. But like, talking in the beginning, like whenever I started this podcast was like, it was like, I felt more pressure for it just because like I felt like I always had to like keep things going, have can't have any dead time. But then I'm like, it's not live. I can just cut out.
Right, you can edit
them few seconds. Obviously for you guys it's a little bit more difficult. Like what was the pressure like in the beginning for you to like well, first of all, if you're doing this stuff overnight, like do you have like did someone already like do a schedule for you that you're just like kind of following along with?
Oh, with the music you mean or?
Well, I mean like the music and like, the fill-in time because you're obviously not playing music the whole time.
Right. Well, I mean the music is pretty much like predetermined before you go in, like what songs are going to play in what order.
Yeah.
And then the commercials are there and then you basically are told like where to talk.
Yeah, and you're told to what to talk about?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's like you get like a liner sheet with suggested things and like promos and things that you can mention to like, that are coming up on the station and whatnot. But a lot of times you're just doing show prep and just going online and finding stuff to talk about the artists that you're playing out of.
I love that. That's awesome. Now, if you're doing this and you're like kind of like, obviously like Mikey and Bob, you have people calling in all the time and you have like, reoccurring people. Did you have that overnight at all? Was there ever like reoccurring guests?
No, I never really had that. I mean, I remember a woman calling me one night and telling me that I killed Nelly. I remember that.
Like Nelly?
I killed Nelly, yeah. But I mean, in all reality, Nelly is thriving down in Atlanta.
He is,
you know?
Atlanta.
He's doing great, but no, I did not kill Nelly.
You didn't kill Nelly.
You know, you get like the weird phone calls every once in a while in the overnight, but
Yeah, I feel like overnight usually it would be like, lonely people or like just kind of strange people.
But a lot of times, like when you're in there like late at night, because we did so many bar remotes and things, it kind of would become like a party with your friends hanging out.
Yeah.
On like Saturdays and Sundays and stuff. So
That would be, that would make more sense. Now, while you're doing this and like, how long are you on like the overnight of all this?
I was only on, it didn't go that long because then I moved into like midday or like
stuff.
afternoon shifts. Yeah.
Okay. And you obviously had to do good at the overnight to be able to like slide in there.
Yeah. You kind of start the overnight to get your reps.
Yeah.
To like kind of get used to like being on the air and being comfortable because the listenership does go down a little bit overnight. So you kind of get more comfortable in the overnight position. And then once they feel like you're good to go, then they move you into the daylight hours.
Now, I mean, was Mike and Bob here before you?
I was here slightly before them. I did my internship and then they came in right after I did my internship.
Okay.
So I was here for maybe like 6 months to 8 months or something like that before they came in.
So if you're doing midday, like what you said, it's from like 10 to 1 or something?
It was like at the time it was 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay. And how long does that go on for?
It was a couple years. See, like these years, they all start blending in together. So
I know,
I'm trying to think like.
Got to be hard to remember all of it.
I want to say I've been on in afternoons for 7 years now.
Okay.
Maybe 8. So I was on, let me think about this. I was maybe on middays for 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Between middays and like weekend shifts is probably like 3 to 4 years, something like that.
And I mean, like, did you enjoy that shift, like being midday, like getting a little bit like more of a, I don't know, is there more engagement, I would assume?
Not necessarily because people are working. So not everybody can like pick up the phone and give you a call in the middle of the workday. You know what I mean?
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but it was always fun because I was on right after Mike and Bob, I would do like a cross break with them. So like we would always like get to talk to each other like on the air and then I'd go in and do my shift after them.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun. So, I mean, is it just you in there while you're doing this or like you don't have anyone else that's like controlling anything? You're pretty much just running everything?
I'm running the whole shebang.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like, can you remember like the first time something went wrong where you like panicked?
Oh yeah. I mean, I still like hit like the wrong buttons or like, if you're trying to record something off the air and you accidentally have your on air button.
Oh.
Like that's happened to me before, or like I've accidentally like hit the wrong buttons and fired things, or I've played like wrong versions of songs. Like I've done it all.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that everyone here has to have done things.
Yeah, I've done it all.
I think I asked them about swearing. Like, do you have a problem with swearing on there ever?
Knock on wood, no. I've never thankfully let one slip.
That's good.
I'm almost like overly cautious about things too, because like, certain like bodily functions and there's things that you can't like really say, you know, because you don't want to gross people out. So instead of saying like barfing, I'll say like toss your cookies, or instead of like farting, it's like passing gas. I mean, it's like, I try to be like over conservative about it.
That would make more sense, just smooth everything out instead of going against the grain. I think whenever I interviewed them, I think I asked that question, and that day, Mikey might have let one slip. And I think that was like a whole talk about that. But I feel like that, I've talked to Abby, I've talked to Mikey and Bob, I've talked to you, and I ask everyone about the whole swearing thing because like in the beginning, whenever I did this podcast, I swore way too much. My mom would come in and or my mom would listen and she'd call me the next day and be like, you said the F word 15 times in the first half hour and or however amount, and I started to think like, I became more conscious of like not just like letting them just flow out like that. And I mean, now that it's a little bit more like, I feel like, if I have Rick C back on here, he doesn't want to hear me, swearing a bunch of times. Like, I got to show some couth, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, in all honesty, outside of my radio life, I have a little bit of a sailor mouth. I do a little bit, but it's also like, when you work in an atmosphere like this where people are just dropping F-bombs all the time, like it just becomes a part of your natural vocabulary.
It's
and
just like a part of it.
It comes out probably more than it should. And I'm also trying to reel it back a little bit.
Yeah, you got to reel it back. I mean, it was weird because like, I interviewed Abby first, and she came over and she was talking, and like obviously on the radio you don't hear anything, and then she swore, and I was just like, it's weird. I've been listening for years, never heard you swear at all.
Right.
But it's pretty interesting. Now I'm curious because I look through your social media. Anytime I have anyone on here, I pretty much deep dive in everyone's social media, and I see that you have just photos with all these like not funny people, but like big name people. But it's funny to me, like you got Backstreet Boys, all these people. So like, do you remember the first person that you met that you're like, what the hell?
That like why am I here in this situation that I can't believe I'm meeting this person?
Yeah. I feel like I mean, I wasn't the biggest Backstreet Boys fan. I think NSYNC is better for sure. But I feel like if I met the Backstreet Boys, I would just be like, this is so bizarre right now.
It is weird. So like for me, I mentioned like Eve 6, how I love them like in high school. So whenever I did my internship, like Alan Cox used to still be here. And they like all called me the Cathy, the Eve 6 loving intern. And so when they came here and played at the station, they made like a big deal where they like made me their personal person that got them their waters. And then Alan Cox talked about me on air. And that was like one of my big first like freak out. Oh my God.
Wow.
I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, that's
moments because I worship them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like growing up.
And I mean, like, obviously it's like, this is your work. This is just part of work. You know, like mingling with these people and like, talking to them and everything. It's wild.
Yeah.
Do you have guests on your show ever really? I feel like I don't hear a lot.
Not really. I mean, like when there's artists in town, I'll have artists on the show.
Yeah.
Or like, if there's like an actor promoting something or, it's not that often. Like I want it to be interesting for the listeners.
Yeah.
So
that would make sense.
Yeah. So but it's weird. It's like, it's not very often that you can get a big name to come to the radio station, at least in like the pop world, because they're all freaking superstars.
Yeah.
So like but you also get them before they blow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I've had Ed Sheeran in here. We've had Ed Sheeran, like Fifth Harmony. So like Camila Cabello was a part of that whole thing before, Fifth Harmony broke up and she blew up.
Yeah.
We've had Alessia Cara. Vance Joy is one of my favorites.
Vance Joy. I think I sold merch for them down
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Someone called me randomly and I ended up selling their merch.
Nice.
Down at Stage 8. And
He's like the nicest human being ever.
They put on such a great show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was I can't remember who opened for him, but anyway, regardless. So if you have these people in here and like, I guess that makes sense that the people that you would be talking to are like these big name superstars like Ed Sheeran and stuff. So you wouldn't have a lot of people in here to just, they're not waking up early to do radio.
Not everybody does. But a lot of the times too, because I'm afternoon drive, they're getting ready for their show at night and stuff. So it's a little bit harder to get people here. So a lot of times, like you see the pictures on my Instagram, like Shawn Mendes, the Backstreet Boys, like that kind of stuff. It's because you go to the venue and they take you back and you get a quick photo and they say hi and then you're on your way.
Yeah.
It's not like like slugging bottles of champagne with the Jonas Brothers or anything. It's just they literally like walk you back, you say hi and they say thanks for coming and then you're out.
Yeah.
It's usually like a pretty quick thing.
That's cool though. I mean, like it's cool that it still gets to happen.
I will say though, some of them actually give you the hang time. Like Ed Sheeran will give you some hang time.
That's crazy.
Which is he's the best. So, but also like he did the rounds like where he went around with a record label person in a van and went to every single radio station. Like when he was first starting out. So he met a lot of people.
That's really cool.
And has always been like super kind to radio. So the times that he's been back here, he like always remembers me. Is always really kind, talkative, like remembers my name, you know, like
that's really awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
We were watching American Idol the other day, and we saw someone get the golden buzzer or whatever, and I'm just like, me and my wife will just start tearing up watching these people sing, and then we start going on a YouTube rabbit hole of artists singing with other people, because I think someone sang a Katy Perry song and everyone's like, holy shit, that's Katy Perry, reincarnated. And then we start going on all these videos, and there was a video of Ed Sheeran like in a mall somewhere, and he heard some girl singing and he just like popped up and started singing with her. And like, I'll just be like blown away.
He's awesome like that though. Like when he was here, oh gosh, this is maybe like 3 shows ago.
Yeah.
He went and hung out with Mac Miller in Squirrel Hill.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that and hearing about that.
Yeah, and he like I asked him
That's
the
wild.
next day because I went to the meet and greet and I was like, how's your time in Pittsburgh been? He's like, oh, I went over and hung out with Mac Miller at a sports bar over in some place with a weird name. I was like, Squirrel? He's like, yeah, Squirrel Hill. He's like, and then we stayed at his mom's house and he took me for breakfast the next morning to some place. I was like, Pamela's? Yeah, Pamela's. So he like came in and did like the whole thing, but you know, he's just a nice dude that wants to, you know, just enjoy stuff.
Yeah, just enjoy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, I mean, progressing your career with this, you know, I mean, you just keep growing, keep doing all this stuff. I'm sure the radio is like, the environment of the radio is changing a little bit. Like, can you tell any sort of like, shift of like, you know, how do I want to say it? Like music and the listeners, like, can you tell like a shift of the times? I feel like it's a broad question, but like if you've been here for that long, like you got to see like, you know, the early stuff. You see like you got to see Ed Sheeran in the beginning whenever he like is not that famous, and like now he's like untouchable. I'm sure you could like notice that change of like, you know, people growing.
Yeah, you kind of do, and you can see it for these artists when you watch stuff and you start seeing the reactions of people, especially now in like the social media world. You see how like their followers go up and like the more exposure you get. Because I remember going back to Ed Sheeran, like the first time that I saw him on Saturday Night Live, I was like, holy crap, this is the moment.
Yeah.
And he was already like getting pretty big at that point, but this was like,
that's when it's
yeah, I was like
goes.
second, I think was it the second album he played Sing on Saturday Night Live and he had the full band. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, it's
a big deal.
This is a big deal right here.
Yeah, it's weird now because like, you know, people pop up out of nowhere and they just like become crazy famous. Like I watched this video from a year ago of Lil Nas X whenever he's like eating some like ramen noodles and he's talking and he's like, you know, I got like 1,000 followers on YouTube. He's like, I got like 1,000 followers on Instagram. We're going to do this video a year later. And it was a year later and he's in this mansion and he's eating the same food and he was like, things are going great.
Yeah.
And you're just like, geez, like that's crazy. Now, social media, like, is that like, since you're like involved with like the marketing and everything, what are like the changes of like the beginning of social media whenever like before Instagram and shit was around, you know, like what's it like doing the marketing before you have that stuff to now whenever you have these tools? Like, was it different in the beginning? Like, were you guys using MySpace and stuff?
We did. We actually had our like, for like a minute, like our company had like our own like social media thing.
Really?
I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, we had our own like social media platform where like we interacted with listeners and they could like make profiles and stuff. It didn't last very long though, but
That's pretty interesting.
I like MySpace was a thing there for a while, you know.
Yeah, I never understood if like companies like, you know, companies like this would like utilize stuff like that, like a MySpace page or.
Yeah, I remember like we hopped on some stuff like pretty early. I remember like we were on Twitter pretty early.
Yeah.
Because of iJustine. Do you know her?
Oh
Justine
yeah,
Nazarick?
the YouTube. Yeah.
She's from Pittsburgh and she and Bonix, before she really blew up, she and Bonix did like a live stream and like drove to this Live Earth concert in New York or wherever it was. And she was in studio. I remember her saying, she's like, Twitter's going to be the next big thing. Twitter's the thing. Twitter's the thing. And that's when like a bunch of us kind of hopped on and I think we made a station account and like all that stuff.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I mean, do you think Twitter's still valid?
I think it is. I personally still really like Twitter.
Really?
I really like it because for show prep purposes.
Yeah.
Like reading stories. So like, you know, you follow the different outlets and like I find stories and I email them to myself. So I have like stuff to talk about the following day. But
that's a really good point. I didn't think about that even.
I feel like that's a good just like back and forth of just like interacting with people too.
Plus it's like it's a natural funnel. Like it's not too much information. Like you just see a headline. If that interests you, then you could just like send it to yourself. It's hard for me to like want to dive into Twitter. I feel discouraged by like a lot of the other people and like just the garbage that you got to read.
Yeah.
And like, I guess that's just the world we live in.
No, there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of crap, but I mean, you know, that's why the blocks and the filters are there though.
Yeah. The blocks and the filters. It's the best thing in the world. Now, so, I mean, you're doing all this radio and like, you're trying to is there like room for you to like, you know, incorporate your own style and everything? Or, I mean, I guess there would have to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's that's me having a personality on the air.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, because I mean, your show is obviously different than like a Mike and Bob morning show. It's like you're not doing the outrageous things that they're doing a lot of the times. And I mean, like, did you feel like in the beginning that you were like, did you feel in the beginning that you like had a voice that you, how do I want to say it? I feel like it's confusing. Like in the beginning, did you kind of know how you wanted to be, or did it just come in time?
Like knowing your personality and like know the way you want to do it. I mean, it's not, I don't know. For me, I'm just me.
The reason that I ask that is because, like, I feel like, you said that, I got like one or two, or I got like a chance to be able to go on there and do like midday radio. It's like, I feel like I would be nervous to the point where like I would almost like fabricate a personality. Like, I just want to do good. Like, I want this to be good. I want people to like me. Like, do you remember in the beginning if you did that, or if you like were kind of just yourself? And
I've always just been myself, because that's the thing. People want real
authenticity.
People want authenticity, and that's like, I know Mike and Bob go on and they shred like other morning shows in other markets that like fabricate fake people, and like War of the Roses, all that stuff, because we're all just
that blew my mind.
Super real, yeah. But also like that's just Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'm born and bred Pittsburgh. You're born and bred, right?
Yeah.
Like we just appreciate good, authentic, genuine people.
Yeah.
And that's the way this town is. So that's always been my approach, is just being a nice, authentic, genuine person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I guess that would make sense. It was weird to hear about like how they were talking about how like, callers and like people calling in, and like how like other radios like fabricate all that.
Yeah,
and it's all like,
some markets do that. Yeah.
And I don't know why I didn't even like think of that. It like didn't even like register in my mind that like all these like, these girlfriends calling their boyfriends and catching them cheating and stuff like that. It's like, why wouldn't I think that was fabricated?
We're all pure.
Yeah, we're all pure, I guess. We all hope that that's real drama.
Right.
So, I mean, whenever you like kind of get like now you're not midday, right?
I'm afternoon drives now.
Afternoon
drive.
So what is the hours for that?
Right now I'm on 2 to 9. So I start my day, like I wake up at like 8 and I'm on my computer by 9, and usually in office by like 11.
Now, what's a day look like for you? It's like in the morning, like kind of run me through like what goes on.
So when I wake up in the morning, I'm doing like some work from home.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm the music director, so it's my job to put all the music together for the station. So I'll start working on that from home, and then I come in, and it's usually like meeting with record people, cutting commercials, and then going on the air and doing a radio show.
Now, in the morning, whenever okay, so let's split this apart. You said you're the music director. Mm-hmm. It's like for you to like kind of put together what music is playing, like, is it all coming from like a bigger person, and you're kind of just like, you have these choices and you could only use these choices to...
Oh, we're the ones that pick it. Like we'll all, like the whole staff will all sit in a room and pick and decide what we want to play.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was just like, like iHeartRadio is like, you're going to play this at this time.
Yeah, no, it's all us. We dictate what gets played. Like we have research, and we looked at the research, and that kind of tells us like what songs to play more. Based on like how much people like them and stuff. So there's a whole
everyone loved Lizzo
thing. Yeah, everybody loves Lizzo and freaking Louis Capaldi.
Who's Louis Capaldi?
I'm getting kind of used to being someone you loved, in which exactly. I'm over the song.
Yeah,
but Pittsburgh is not.
Really?
It's like the number one testing song for our station.
What about Lizzo?
People still like Lizzo. I'm personally very upset that she still hasn't been here on a tour yet. But
yeah. It like now, I mean, someone who's like in the business, like, was Lizzo around before, that song came up?
She's always been around, but like the thing, she was never really brought to top 40 radio until Juice.
That was, I mean, that was like the beginning of it all, right?
Yeah, Juice was like the first single they brought, and then Truth Hurts was in that one Netflix movie, and then that blew up.
Oh.
And then that ended up kind of like swooping in, and Juice went away, and they're like, well, Truth Hurts is a single now, so that's the one that ended up blowing up.
That's the 100% bad bitch?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was I forget the name of the movie. It was some Gina Rodriguez movie on Netflix.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but it's just so like weird how quick things could happen, and like how people just get put on a market. It's like even if you're not like a music person, just a social media influencer or whatever it is, it's pretty crazy. But now in the mornings, are you pretty active on social media and like what's like the gossip and everything? I feel like you would have to be, right?
Yeah, I feel like I lurk more than I post.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like I'll like wake up and roll over, and as I'm like trying to wake up in the morning, I'll like scroll through Twitter and just see like what I missed overnight, and just kind of try to like catch up on what's going on locally and catch up what's going on in the music world and pop culture, all that stuff.
Now, I want to ask this, but like it's obviously kind of like a weirder type question. Now, for something like, I don't even know if I should ask it, like the Kobe Bryant shit that happened. Okay, obviously, absolutely terrible. It's like, does that like kind of like throw everything up in the air? Like whenever something huge like that happens, in the world,
it will. That kind of like becomes your main focus of things that you're talking about, and that's kind of also difficult too, because you want to make sure that you're getting the facts straight and you're giving people the right information, because you think when he passed, like ABC News I think reported that like his whole family, like all his kids were on.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, you have to be like really careful about getting the right information out to people when those kind of things happen. Like I was on the air the day the Mac Miller news broke.
Yeah, like and
that was just freaking still. I count that as one of the worst days I've ever had in this building, because it was just so hard to have to go on and tell people that he had passed.
Oh yeah.
And then to have to like keep up with the story and try to do like a radio show from there on out. It's just that day sucked just so much.
I feel like Kiss is like, it's such like an upbeat, like you put it on, it's always like upbeat fun.
Yeah.
And like it's like you're bringing fun to the radio, and I feel like stuff like that. And I know that that's like darker, but like that's something that like I was thinking about just like putting myself in your shoes and like things like that. It's like you obviously want to direct the day to be happy and like, go through smoothly and things like that. But like, it's almost like if something tragic like that happens, you almost feel bad to like still try to bring light to like the rest of the time.
Yeah, it's tough. Like we were the day the synagogue shooting happened.
Like that's.
I flew up to the radio station, my boss and I, and we basically cut all music and we like went to like a news feed. Yeah. And I had to like come on the air on and off and just say, hey, this is what's going on. We're going to go back to our news feed, or we're going to commercial. We'll be back with more, like that kind of stuff. So I remember doing that for, I forget how many hours, until we ended up going back to regular programming.
Yeah.
And I just went home and I cried so hard, and I cried for like a long time.
Oh, I bet.
Because you have to like try to hold it together for everybody else.
Yeah.
And then like when you finally get into your space where you can take a breath, it just like kind of all hits you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're kind of just like putting it back, and like, I mean, you can't be like broken up on the air. It's like,
I mean, you can, it's natural, to have those kind of reactions and to get upset. I've definitely done that multiple times over the years over certain situations, but you just try to keep it together the best you can.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. That's definitely interesting. Now, whenever you guys are doing like giveaways and things like that, and you're like, having people call in and you're having people, it's like, these were just questions that pop into my head that I'm curious about. It's like people that are giving you like tickets and everything that way. Do you like come up with like these contests and everything yourself, or is it like it's like not you yourself, but like as a group? Are you guys coming up with like fun things to do and like contests, or is this like? Is there like a book of like contests you could use for the radio?
No, not really. Like if we do anything like fun or interesting, it's usually us that, we're the ones that put it together. But for the most part, we try to just keep it simple for the listeners and just be like, caller 9, come and get this.
Yeah.
Because, we don't want people to have to also jump through hoops.
Yeah.
To try to get something.
That makes sense.
We try to make it easy.
Do you ever get like negative feedback?
Not really. I mean, for the most part, you mean like from the listeners?
Yeah, like from people, like whether they call and like, if you listen to Mark Madden, you have some assholes that'll just call and like be an asshole.
No, I mean, people have always been, I mean, knock on wood, people have always been very kind to me, which I really
That's
appreciate.
good.
Yeah, people have always been really, really nice. I'm sure there's been situations in the past where it's happened where, you know, someone got angry at me over something stupid, but like nothing really comes to mind right now.
Yeah,
but.
you're not like, you know, arguing with listeners.
Right,
Mark
like, 'cause I'm
Madden.
too nice. Like, I don't want to fight with anybody, ever.
Yeah, I mean, that will make sense. Like, I get a very, very a lighthearted vibe from all of you that I hear on the radio. It's like everyone just seems to be like wanting to have fun, wanting to be positive, and you know, all that stuff. Whenever you're on location, you know, do you enjoy like being places and like meeting all these people? And like, I'm sure people come up to you all the time and like, you know, talk to you.
I do.
I feel like it would be just like you know, a fun part.
Yeah, it's honestly the best part. We like being out and being around people.
Yeah.
You know, like we're people. That's why we're doing what we're doing, you know? So it's always, you know, it doesn't matter where you are. Like I said, I'll be at like a mattress store and I meet people and that's always fun. Or I could be at Stuff-A-Bus or at a concert, you know, it's all levels of it. It's always great.
It's interesting that like, you know, people, you know, you guys have these like, these theme songs, and it's like people see mattress firms, and I just see tweets going to KissFM all the time of people just taking selfies in front of the mattress firms.
That's all Mike and Bob and their magical jingles.
It's hilarious. It's really, really funny. Like, I don't know. I feel like having them too, as part of like, you know, the environment around here, I feel like they would just like, it would motivate me to be more creative. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Because they're the most smartest creative dudes around.
Like just silly gooses. And like I feel like that would motivate me to want to be, you know, fun and, you know, kind of bring that same environment. Do you ever have like any pressure from, obviously they're in the morning, and they bring a certain type of energy and a certain type of show. Like, do you ever feel any like sort of like pressure to like, you know, I mean, if you're only by yourself, they have two. It's their duo. Like, do you ever have pressure like that?
No, not really. Because I don't know. I'm so used to doing the whole thing by myself. I don't even know what I would do if there was another person in the room with me, if I had like a co-host. Because, you know, you kind of just get used to like running the ship and controlling everything by yourself after so long.
Yeah, I feel like that I'm too much of a control freak. Like I like having it all on me and not having to like worry about other people to do things.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. But I'm always like, I think there's a part of me that just always wants to take care of everybody else. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I don't have kids, but it's like a motherly instinct thing where I just want to make sure everybody else is okay. And I'll do everything. Yeah. Let me just take care of this for you.
Well, I mean, that's cool. So, like, what's your goals with, like, I mean, I don't know. I assume you're not leaving anytime soon. But like,
I would love to stay here as long as they'll have me. Yeah, as long as Pittsburgh will have me.
Why wouldn't you want to stay in this awesome place? Like, what are your goals for, like, what you want to do in the next, like, I don't know. I always think that those questions, like, what are your goals in the next 3 years, are so, like, loaded and, like, so just like gross, but like I'm interested. It's like you're obviously doing really, really great at what you do.
Thank you.
And you know, as a whole of KISS and like, you know, iHeartRadio or however you guys, whoever it is, but like, do you have ideas of like how you want to like progress, or like is there things that you want to do? Do you have goals on like, you know, things to like implement into the show, or like bring more like this, bring more, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've like got like ideas of stuff I'd like to do for our station, you know, and like stuff that I would love to go out and do in the community that could help us to like really get out there more. But like personally, like I've really done a lot on the behind the scenes front. Yeah. And I'd like to do more of that stuff too.
Yeah. You like behind the scenes stuff?
I do. I love being on air, but I also really enjoy like the behind the scenes and like the technical stuff and like how to make the radio station run.
Yeah, like the logistics of it all.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it's basically like, you know, like my boss and I do a lot of like the stuff that like helps to make the radio station run every day.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, just I'd like to learn more of that and grow in that field as well.
That's cool. All right. Well, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to like touch on, but I think we can get through the ending segment. Yeah. So the ending segment that I do with all my guests is an ending segment called Desert Island Questions.
Okay.
Desert Island Questions is a segment where I give each of my guests 3 categories to take with them on a desert island to exhaust until expulsion. So the first category is things to watch. You get to pick 3 choices, anything you want, TV, movies, whatever.
Oh my God, what's The Office?
Office.
It's my number one all-time favorite show.
Well, that's why it's called Desert Island Questions.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, like, if there's so many episodes, I never get bored of it. I've seen it at least like 10 times through already.
It's the best.
That's definitely one of them.
They're making a kids book. Did you see that?
No, I did. I did see the kids book.
That's
It's coming out in
fantastic.
October.
Do you listen to the Office Ladies podcast?
I do, yeah. I haven't gotten to the one from this week yet.
Yeah, I fell behind a lot, but I love it. It's really, really great.
Sorry, you got me again.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that podcast. I just did the Christmas episode, so I have like the one from this week to catch up on. So 2 more things.
Yeah.
Spaceballs.
Oh, that's good.
Spaceballs is my favorite movie as a kid, like growing up, and I just love Spaceballs so much. The third thing, so I feel like you almost have to take a TV series with you, so you have like the variety of, but I don't know that there's another show that I love as much as I love The Office.
Yeah, it's hard. Are you a Parks and Rec fan?
I do like Parks and Rec.
I'm not like.
But I don't think like I need it on an island,
Did you watch Parks and Rec before you watched The Office?
No.
Okay, see, like I can't get into Parks and Rec. I don't know why. I feel like it's trying to be The Office too much.
Well, it's the same people, same writers and stuff.
Yeah, but it's just like it just feels too similar to me. I like the characters, but it's just like I can't love it as much as The Office.
Right.
But I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, you know what else? I'd probably take Baby Driver.
What a fantastic movie.
That's one I've seen so many times, and it never gets boring for me.
It's such I didn't expect it to be that.
Yeah.
Whenever I was watching that, I didn't expect it to be like performance. Did you watch there's a movie on Hulu with Donald Glover and Rihanna. It's called like
something Island, whatever
Gullah
it is.
Island or something.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's something like that. It's like a performance almost. Like there's music, there's like dancing, but it's also like not a musical. I don't know. It's very bizarre. I don't even know.
Guava Island, isn't that what it's called?
Island.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Gullah Island was from a Nickelodeon show from a long time ago. It's good though. If you should watch it if you get a chance. I'm curious. How did you get into music?
I've just always loved it.
You always loved it. It's like it wasn't like. Did you ever play instruments or anything?
I didn't. Like I played the recorder in like grade school, like every other kid does, and I bought a guitar, but never really learned how to play it. I still have it at home.
Same.
Yeah.
Just sits there. It's a conversation piece.
But it was mainly my parents just like always having the radio on around the house.
Yeah, that's cool though. Okay, so do you read?
No,
not
really. I'm kind of the worst.
All right. So how about what about your 3 favorite people that you ever met?
3 favorite people I ever met.
Yeah, big name people here.
Famous people?
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien. You met him.
I did.
Where'd you meet him at?
Oh my God. It was the best ever. I've always been a big, oh my God. You see like my eyes just like glazed over.
Yeah, your eyes lit up for Conan O'Brien.
So I have always been a big fan of him.
Yeah.
And then whenever he went off the air and then they launched a TBS show, I went to a press junket in LA and got to interview him.
Oh, wow.
And
how long did you get to interview him?
It was only supposed to be like 5 minutes. I think I got like 11 with him.
Oh, wow.
Like I got more time with him because it was funny. Like whenever you do like a press junket, like they basically have like a bunch of tables set up and you hop from like one to the other and over and over and over again. Yeah. So he was with like all dudes. And there was like getting close to like cutting for lunch, and then he got to me and saw a girl, and his eyes just got big, and he did the whole like purred at me, and he did the whole Conan thing.
Oh man!
I remember Sona, I think that's her name, Sona, his assistant.
Yeah.
She was like off to the side, and I guess somebody walked up to her and was like, "Hey, what's he gonna do for lunch?" She's like, "I don't know, but wherever he goes, he's taking tall Cathy with him." But yeah, that was just such an amazing moment because I was such a big fan of him.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Do you get crazy nervous interviewing him?
Sometimes, like if it's somebody that I'm really really into, I'll get nervous.
Yeah. It's like, how do you prepare for that?
You just like
I feel like with the bigger name people, you obviously get less and less time.
Yeah.
You're not getting an hour with Ed Sheeran or Conan O'Brien. So like, how do you decide on like what you want to ask? Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. Like I'm not real big on like writing down questions and stuff.
Me either. That's why I don't do it.
No, because I feel like that takes away from the naturalness
100%
of like
it
a
does.
conversation. So I always tend to have a few ideas in my head of what I want to ask.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like spitball from there, like based off of the conversation and how it's going.
Same. I feel like whenever I first started this podcast, I had a notebook with just like my buddy. So we grew up together. He was in like a local band. You know, we would travel to go see bigger name bands, and now he plays guitar in this bigger name band that we would travel to see all the time.
Yeah.
And he was my first guest. And I had like just a list of questions, and it was just me asking a question, waiting for him to answer, and then me not even listening to his answer pretty much, and me just preparing to ask another one. And I'm just like, it sounds like shit.
No, I agree. It's way too stiff whenever you do those things. But like when you go on like those kind of press junkets and things, you're there for the purpose of getting information about their show.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to
that's true. Yeah.
I have like a million questions I want to ask them on my own personal level, and I can like squeeze a few of those in, but I really need to get the things to grab the sound bites to make something from that whenever I get back to the radio station.
Man, that would be difficult. That would be fun though, I feel, to like.
Yeah, so that's the thing. But, it's funny because they start like rolling the audio on and all that stuff. So I have all these extra golden minutes of the stuff, like the audio of like when he first saw me and the purring. And I have like all that like somewhere deep in the archives on my laptop. And it's just,
That's the best.
That's such a gift.
All right, so that's a good one. Conan O'Brien is the number one, huh?
Conan O'Brien is the number one. Who's my number two? Number two might be Chris Martin for me.
Oh, wow.
Chris Martin was a big one because I've been such a huge Coldplay fan forever. And it was kind of fun to tell him the story. When I did my internship interview, I'd won Coldplay tickets from the X. They played Palumbo. And on the day of my internship interview, the dude who was running promotions at the time, he's like, "Oh, so I hear you're doing an internship interview. Cool, here's your tickets, bye." And he ran away. I'm like, that was kind of weird how fast he ran. And I took my brother to the show, and when we got there, I had won fifth row tickets on air.
Oh my God.
I was stuck back behind the soundboard. I was like, this isn't right. My brother's like, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, "I'm not going to say anything because I want to get that internship."
Yeah.
And so whenever I got the internship, that guy was like, "Yeah, somebody stole those tickets out of my desk, and I just gave you the behind the soundboards because I knew you want to complain because you wanted to work here."
Oh, man.
So I got to tell Chris Martin that story when I interviewed him, and he's like, "Well, isn't this like the full circle moment for you?"
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, so he was just fantastic to talk to. And then after I did the pre-show interview with him, right before the band went on stage, they brought like a whole bunch of radio people back and kind of like stood us in a line, and the whole band came through to take like a giant group picture, and then they literally went up on stage and played it.
That's
PPG
really cool.
Paints. Yeah, so as the band comes out, they kind of like all shake your hand one by one. They're like, "Hello, hello, hello, hello." And Chris Martin's coming through. He's like, "Hello, hello. Oh, hey, TC. Hello, hello." And I was like, "Oh, I died.
Oh, my God.
I died.
Wow.
I died."
For him to like, address you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
The fact that he called me TC, I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's like you're just melting.
Yeah.
That's really cool though.
Yeah, that was another really big one for me. And like I said, like throughout the years, like meeting Eve Six and like that kind of stuff was always really big. But like
That'll make sense.
The other like mega star that was always really cool was probably Taylor Swift. That's the other one.
Yeah, I used to dislike Taylor Swift. I don't know why, but then I watched her documentary, and I'm like, she's all right.
She's all right.
She's been dealing with some shit her whole life.
Yeah,
and like, she's good.
Yeah,
I like it now. Can you name an interview you did that did not go well at all? Do you have one of them at all?
I feel like I did a phone interview with Howie Mandel, and he was just he was horrible. He was horrid.
Howie Mandel.
He's probably super nice in everyday life, but he was promoting America's Got Talent or something maybe.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was ask him about Bobby's World.
Oh.
And
Little Monsters.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And he had like a sheet of like a script of the description of the person who was going to be on the show from Pittsburgh. And he was like, he read the description of the guy. I was like, all right, that's cool. But, what about? And I tried to ask him something else. He's like, well, America's Got Talent on tonight and blah, blah, blah from Pittsburgh will be on the show. And he like read the script again. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, just be a person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he probably had to go through like a whole bunch of phone calls, like a million of those, but still.
Of them. I get it. That's your job.
Like, still just like be a person.
Howie Mandel. I hear that he's a weird guy.
Yeah. He wasn't like, I've never actually met him in real life. So maybe he's lovely, but maybe.
I listen to podcasts all the time with comedians all the time, like and they don't give a shit. They'll just air everyone out, and they say that Howie Mandel is he'll never shake anyone's hand because he's
germaphobe,
super big germaphobe, and I don't know. Howie Mandel, Little Monsters was a fantastic movie, and Bobby's World, epic.
Yep.
All right, now the second category. We already did the second category. The third category is 3 things to listen to. So you have to pick 3 CDs.
Ooh, God, that's really tough.
I know it's difficult. I'll give you greatest hits if that makes it easier.
Greatest hits works. It's like going back. Like I love Coldplay. So Rush of Blood of the Head is one of my all-time favorite albums.
Okay.
That's a really good one. Neil Diamond's greatest hits.
Neil Diamond.
Oh, I freaking love Neil Diamond.
There you go.
Yeah. I took my mom to see him a couple years ago and I surprised her with like second row tickets. It
Oh,
was just,
wow.
Oh, the best.
How good was that?
Oh, it was amazing.
Neil Diamond would be interesting. You ever see Saving Silverman?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Multiple times.
It was Neil Diamond, right?
Yeah,
that they
it's
were
Neil
into.
Diamond. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that movie until I listened to a podcast with Jason Biggs the other day.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and watch that movie. Okay, third.
Oh,
Eve
God.
6.
I mean, I love me some Eve 6. But I don't like I gotta go back to like those Dashboard albums because I know every single word like through and through and through and through and over and over and over again. And I'm gonna lose my voice when I see them at Stage AE next week.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll definitely be good. I think my wife is gonna go. Okay, so the second or third to last question is the death row meal. So you get to pick whatever you want to eat from wherever you want, as many places as you want.
My death row meal number 1 is hanger steak from Station in Bloomfield.
Hanger steak from Station.
It's a restaurant in Bloomfield.
I don't know if I've ever been there.
Oh my God. They do this. Station, yeah. It's in Bloomfield. They do this like hanger steak with like fried like cauliflower and mushroom and onion. It's
oh
just,
my God.
It's freaking unbelievable. It's my favorite meal.
Okay.
Number 2, I don't know. Maybe it's not in these order. Number 2, a good steak fajita from Emiliano's.
Oh, that's good too.
I love a good steak fajita, and that's just like the whole platter and the whole experience of all like the vegetables and the sizzle and the, hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh gosh, and number 3, probably my mom's beef stroganoff. So I don't know if it would be in that direct order, but those 3 things are probably those are my favorite dishes.
Yeah, you'll just have all of them.
Yeah.
That's how it is. They're just gonna bring it out. You could eat all that, and then you're gonna get fried.
I'd be like, and bye bye. Yeah.
Okay, so the second to last category is or question is I'm sponsored by Turner's Premium Tea. I do a segment that's called the Turner's Crate. So in that crate is a question submitted by every guest that I've had on here so far. So you have to come up with one too, but I want you to reach in that Turner's Crate and pick up a tab or a note card. Yeah, mix them around.
Mixing them up.
Yeah, mixing them around.
Yeah. Okay, well, I just dropped 3 of them.
That's all right. That's all right. And
I'll take the one on the floor.
Okay.
This little purple card. Let's see, from Palermo Stone, episode 5.
Episode 5. Okay.
Okay. If you could have been granted talent in any other industry, what would it be?
That's a good question.
I think I'd like to be able to actually sing.
Oh my! I tell my wife all the time, if I could sing, I would never talk to people.
No, I envy my friends that can just sing really, really well. Like to be able to sing and play a guitar, I think would be just the best.
That's like my dream is to be able to just sing. I sure as hell try, but it's not that good. Okay, so the last question that I ask everyone is: if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Jeez. I feel like that's such like a common question, but it's so hard to answer.
It is, and usually people will say a loved one, but if you do say a loved one, I'm going to ask you to pick someone who's not a loved one.
Yeah, no, I was going to say probably my dad because I miss him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What about someone who's not a loved one?
Somebody who's not a loved one. God, I really had to think about this one. This is horrible.
Yep.
Who would yours be?
Well, see, I'm a little bit different because I've heard of all these. Like, I've done this for 108, so like I think of all different people. You know, there's obviously my grandfather, but if it wasn't a loved one, I would love to talk to people like Robin Williams, Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big comedy fan. I would like to talk to, someone like Leonardo DiCaprio. Mm-hmm. I feel like, a good actor, anything like that. Antonio Banderas, though, was like, I watched Desperado and The Mask of Zorro probably hundreds of times. I don't know why he would be someone that I would like to talk to, but I would really love to figure out why he got into acting and how he got into acting.
Yeah. Probably Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, see,
I'm a huge Tarantino fan, and I would love to know how his brain works.
Yeah, I feel like you could have 10 hours with him and you still wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Interesting guy. He was in Desperado.
He was?
Yeah, he was in Desperado. Now, what's your favorite Tarantino movie?
Oh, gosh.
That's difficult.
It's not like... It's honestly, it's probably like, it's the movie that he'll say is his least favorite is Death Proof.
Really? That's your favorite?
I freaking love Death Proof.
Wow.
I mean, to be honest, like there's a lot of like long drawn out just crap kind of in the middle of it, but just like the whole beginning thing with Stuntman Mike and the girls in the bar, and then at the end of it, just there's like a 45 minute like chase scene.
Yeah.
It's so badass.
That is cool. It's that's definitely not my favorite, but that's a good movie.
I mean, they're all great.
Yeah, they're
all
great
for their own ways. I mean, I love probably like Kill Bill. Like, those are probably like my next two faves.
I really hope that he comes out with another one.
I think he's going to, because that's the thing. He did the whole like, I'm going to make 10 movies and I'm done, which means he's got one left. But he considers 1 and 2 Kill Bill like one movie.
Yeah.
So if he does a third one, then he still has 2 in the can left.
You could never anticipate with what he's doing.
No, but he'll do like limited series, and he's going to do like a play, and he's going to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I think anything he puts out is great. But okay, I appreciate you doing this very much. Take a second and promote anything you'd like to promote.
I'd like to promote happiness and kindness and just being good.
That's good. Where can people find you on social media?
At Tall Cathy with a C on Instagram, on Twitter, like Facebook.com//Tall Cathy, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, on the air 2 to 7 afternoons on 96.1 Kiss Pittsburgh on the iHeartRadio app. And yeah, yay.
All right. Everyone else that's listening, thank you very much. As always, I'll call you right back across the boards. Shout out to Turner's Dairy Farms for putting their name behind the podcast. I appreciate them as usual. Go follow them on Instagram at Turner's PGH, and follow Tall Cathy, follow me, and give me some feedback, what you like, what you dislike. Call me a piece of shit if you want. If you do anything though, please subscribe to the podcast, rate and review it. 5 stars. If you got nothing nice to say, don't say it. But thanks for listening, and I'll call you right back.